Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth and final session of Red Moon Rising, our playtest of Rhapsody of Blood. We have a change in the player composition this time round. We have Derek returning and Toma, a new arrival. So, in the last episode, a group of explorers went to the crystal spheres outside reality and stopped the nefarious false sun from replacing the normal sun and casting the world into terror. Let's see what else was happening in the world while that was going down. So, first up, Derek, do you want to introduce Julia to us? Describe her. What's her abilities, outlook, motivations, that sort of thing?
Okay. So Julia is a mystic. She is a member of the Starved. If you remember, they have a very emaciated look to them, hence their nickname. She has a feminine body that's frail, has occult tools and a mask, and has a Middle Eastern look to her. Her motivation specifically is laying a spirit to rest. I think last time we discussed this spirit was the spirit that basically cursed her entire bloodline, creating the Starved. And I think that she's a very focused individual, kind of that fire burning, always pushing her forward.
Yes. All right. And Toma, do you want to introduce us to Zithar?
Yeah, Zithar is a pack rat and is literally like a pack rat, like a little rat guy, and part of the Magnum Opus. So, we had a previous player, I think, playing under that group. And, I'm saying he here, but, Zithar kind of refers to themselves as a group because Zithar walks around with a pack of rats, right? Like little rats that are scurrying around on their body and like all over the place. And Zithar themselves is really clean, kind of gray fur, wears some of the same clothes as the other members of Magnum Opus, so finery and jewels and all sorts of nice looking stuff, and lots of little bags and things. So whenever something is needed, Zithar just looks around and pulls it out of, all these weird little bags that they're carrying, or the little rats are carrying. Part of the reason why they refer to themselves as they is because Zithar kind of associates all the little rats as part of themselves, right? It seems like they're referring to them in that sense. But their goal is to find a great and hidden treasure, physical or otherwise. Yeah, and probably even if we're all good friends here, I'm assuming we're all good friends.
Yeah, you all know of each other. Yeah.
Yes. So I think Zithar would probably brag and show some of the more fabulous trinkets that they've picked up on their journeys, and some of those are not particularly powerful artifacts. They'll be like, oh, this is a poem written by a great philosopher from 500 years ago in their own hand, or like the treasures aren't necessarily things you can do much with in a battle, but that's Zithar.
Nice. All right, so the castle has emerged into the Rome of 1523, sort of Renaissance Italy sort of setting, and has already started corrupting the world. Just a few hours ago from the present, you folks out there in the mortal world would have seen a sudden eclipse happen without any sort of warning. And as the moon moved in front of the sun, it's almost like a fire lit up in the middle of it and turned the sun into one giant eye looking down on the world. But then that soon passed, and most people wrote it off as a coincidence, a weird thing that happened, that sort of thing. But you know, it shows that whoever rules this evil castle from outside reality, they're making progress on their plan, whatever it is, to blight the world. Mechanically speaking, the Regent's clock has ticked 3 of its 6 segments. When it hits 6, bad times happen. So, Julia, with the Starved, you've been searching for a way to lay this spirit to rest. What sort of thing has the Starved been doing to try and achieve that?
So the Starved has done a fair amount of research, helped out by some of their compatriot bloodlines, obviously. And I think they've determined, I don't have the details right in mind right now, but they've determined it has some sort of weakness that isn't really. I'm thinking more along the lines of like a Lich's phylactery or something like that, where if you destroy it, you're going to destroy this thing, but you're going to destroy the entity, but you have to find this hidden gem heart or whatever hidden somewhere in the castle.
Okay, nice. So what you can do if you're trying to get more information on things is to send your bloodline members out for rumors and resources in the mortal world. Does that sound good?
Yeah, especially looking if we can find the location.
All right. In which case, do you want to give me a roll plus coins for the Starved?
Plus coins for the Starved.
So that's your bloodline.
Which is, of course, -1.
Yeah. If anyone wants to help you with this, they can, of course, send their bloodline to give you assistance.
I have lots of coins. I don't really know what else is involved with assistance, though.
Yeah. Let's see. We didn't set up any pacts with you for everyone else. We should have done that. So what you can do is just roll +0, Toma, to lend your weight to the Starved. If you succeed, they get advantage on their roll. If you get 7 to 9, you expose yourself to whatever risk they suffer.
Okay. Sure. I rolled a miss.
Okie dokie. Okay, so yeah.
Perhaps I've lent some coins and because I want one in with some whatever it is they're doing as a reward. When you say coins, are you talking about like literally coins? Like, is there a coin thing?
So the stats that a bloodline has are chalices, swords, coins, and wands. Chalices represents their ability to heal and nurture. Swords, their ability to project force. Coins, their ability to tap into mortal resources and rumors. Right. And wands, their ability to wield arcane power.
Okay, and coins are my shtick, but I guess maybe we lent some in this. Anyways, we can figure out narratively what this means later.
Yeah. So fundamentally, I think it's that you try to help out the Starved, but the Starved's dire coins, it comes from their... Oh, wait a sec. Well, so their low coins comes from their inhumanity, and having a sort of scuttling rat creature along doesn't help with that. But
you'd think.
Yes. But I have just noticed, Derek, that you have that move in the Shadows of Humanity for your bloodline.
Oh, I have not looked. Yeah, I forgot about. I've been looking at my Explorer moves, not my. Yeah.
If you want to refresh your memory of that, I'll just work out what's happening.
If I intimidate people into helping you or appeal to their base urges, I roll plus swords instead of coins. But that's only on reinforcements.
Yes, that's this roll that you'd be using to get information.
Okay, great. So I think in that case, yeah, the starve's default interaction with people is just, I mean, we're viewed as accursed outsiders, kind of like untouchables. So just as we're going out to these archivists and lorists and trying to, do this research, we're like, hey, the sooner you help us, the sooner we're going to be out of your household or your place of business.
Okay. So I'll say, Toma, another reason why that didn't work out for you is Rome is not in a good way at the moment. And while you have, as your bloodline, a lot of material wealth and resources, people aren't looking for money. People are looking to sort of grab what they have and barricade up their house because there are mobs roaming the streets looking for kidnappers and monsters. The Swiss Guard have completely locked down the Vatican and are basically raising swords and halberds at anyone who comes near. It's pretty dire. But Julia, you can try and use the star's resources to tempt and intimidate people into opening up, if you wish.
Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and do that. And instead of the -1, it's a +1, so that gives me an 8.
Nice. Okay, so you get to pick one from that list on reinforcements.
All right, and let's see here. Where is the reinforcements move?
That's on bloodline and generation moves.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. I think what makes the most sense for what we're looking for, we hear tales of a ward's acolyte and clues to how they're helping the regent.
Okay, so yeah, what you hear from the scholars that you wheedle information out of is there's a pool that has fallen over the. So the ruler of Rome, what would that be? It's not the mayor, the Prince of Rome? That sounds about right. I don't know. Has a private menagerie that certain scholars are occasionally called into to tend to the animals there or study some rare creature brought from the far shores of the world. And one tells you that while they were there last, okay, fair enough, the Holy Roman Emperor, while they were there last, the place was strange and fog shrouded, and the creatures were ill, unhealthy, and tainted, and, well, emaciated in a way that sounds very familiar to you. And they saw what seemed to be a great beast scuttling behind the cages just out of their sight. And actually, they go on. This is obviously quite a worrying, horrifying experience for them. And as they're talking about this, they also talk about this creature as if it was guarding something, as if it was sitting in place in front of the grander entrance into the palace there. And there was strange light coming from the windows of that palace. So you think what this creature is doing is acting as a watchdog for the regent of the palace, of the castle. Anyone that tries to get to the regent will have to go through it or find a way around it. But you know that it has this crystal that can leave it mortal.
Right. Okay. And now we kind of have an area to go after.
Zithar, you are back at the caravans of the magnum opus outside the city, where you had sort of arrived a few days ago. And, you're putting your resources together, trying to work out where your next exploration will take you, when you can see one of the caravans basically explode in a great gout of mist and fog. Just sort of the caravan is intact, but mist and fog is just pouring out of its windows and doors and crevices. What do you do?
Oh, and these are my people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna. The very first thing is, we don't know if this is a poisonous gas, so I'm going to send my little ratlings, one or two, to test the area to see if there's anybody who needs help inside, to come up close and listen, that kind of thing,
right.
to kind of basically scout out.
Okay. So they scuttle over and squeak at the doors and windows, and one of them runs back to you and squeaks into your ear that they saw two figures in the caravan, sort of bent over, choking on the fog, but the fog seems to be dispersing. It seemed unpalatable, but not poisonous.
All right, then of course we're going to run straight in to examine the situation, see if anyone needs help or if there's some way we can take advantage of it.
All right.
That's always in the back of our head, of course.
Yeah. You all run over to the caravan, fling open the door, and so Hector and Alexandria, how are you feeling?
I think I'm coughing with all the smoke, but then I just kind of look around and just taking in everything relatively calmly. Look over at Alexandria.
I look back. Am I terrified of you yet? Still at this point, you were super helpful last session. I think. I feel like Alexandria might not be so anxious about.
Yeah. I think that's probably accurate. I think we're kind of on the same page at the moment, and teamwork has been working out well. I don't think my eyes are freaking you out as much as they were. Yeah, just FYI for the rest of you, I took a move a couple sessions ago called Chaos Eyes. My eyes are no longer eyes; they are basically like black star fields where you can see like stars and nebulae and stuff reflected in them, and they're also my best weapon. So, yeah.
Well, you've also
two don't look like Magnum Opus members that own this particular caravan.
No, we are fellow adventurers here trying to stop the Regent, as we assume you are. Yes?
Yeah. But what are you going to show me that shows that I can trust who you are and you're not demons coming in to steal our goods?
One of the two of you probably has something that Sigan gave you to sort of take you back here, make the trip. Sigan probably wanted to stay in the crystal spheres and just study them for a while.
Meanwhile, of course, my rats are wandering around that area and maybe even starting to crawl up their legs just to get a close look and get a sense if they're dangerous or not.
Yeah.
So what did happen to Sigan at the end of our session?
Yeah. That'll be helpful to know.
Yeah, so Sigan, the member of the Magnum Opus that you're aware of, they wanted to, because they'd recently unlocked some of the powers of the crystal spheres and tapped into that magic there, they decided that they were going to try and explore and do what they could there to try and heal the rents and gaps created there by the castle's corruption, but gave you a charm to head back here and be able to fight back.
Tomer, what kind of charm would have been given to us, like that your order would have?
You know what? I would say that probably just almost like a brooch. Probably most of us wear and it's not a brooch that could be copied because it looks the same, but like each brooch is of slightly different design and different arrangements of gems, but any one of us as members would be able to quickly see and decipher whether it is authentic or, you know, somebody just kind of like randomly made something that they thought looked like the right thing.
Sure. So I guess I pull this particular brooch out of my pocket and show it to you and say, Sigund aided us in defeating the last acolyte that we just defeated, and then sent us back here. They're stayed behind to do some further work.
And where do we go from here? I mean, I obviously immediately just believe that, you know, I look at the brooch and, you know, it's authentic.
Yeah. Well, Julia, how do you want to get involved in this?
I'm going to take a quick 1 second to go get something from the oven, and I'll be right back.
So I think just in my travels, when I've been searching for this spirit to put to rest, I just kind of stumble across this scene, and of course, I know Hector from my previous. Well, I guess we didn't have a full encounter, but like we had some interactions together.
Yeah. You have a bit of a grudge with a rivalry with him, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, we have a rivalry.
All right. Okay, so yeah, you sort of wander on the caravan and see these three individuals having a chat in the middle of the encampment. They look quite a bit blood-stained and battered and changed and altered since you last saw them, of course.
Right. And I done and well, it's been a while since we've seen each other, Hector. What's going on with your eyes?
My eyes see all. That's all you need to know about them. We've defeated the second of the four. I believe there are four acolytes, correct? Yeah, we defeated the second of the four acolytes, and we've picked up some power along the way.
Well, if you've defeated the second of the four, and you see all, as you claim, I think I have finally a line on where the third one may be, and maybe you can help find the crystal that powers it so that we can render it mortal.
I think I kind of look at you again. We have this, a little bit of a past, but I think I kind of look at you a bit askance. But then, after pondering it for a moment, I nod and say, "Yes, it does seem that our goals are aligned at this moment. That's good. Let's work together on this."
Great. I'm willing to put bygones. Let bygones be bygones. Put it all behind us for the time being, of course.
For the time being, yes.
All right. Okay. So, do you folks want to do any rest or relaxation, or are you good to press on? I think you're pretty fine. Isidore took most of the injuries.
Yeah.
Of course, what you folks could do now that you're out in the real world and have access to your bloodline's resources is try and work a ritual to push back the Regent's efforts, if you want to.
I think I would definitely do that. I don't know what Alexandria has planned. Yeah.
Yeah, if you hadn't jumped, I would have. I think that sounds fun.
All right. Does one of you want to help the other, or?
Yeah. Do we want to work together on this? I'd be into that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Do you want to lead, or do you want me to?
I think trying to flesh out the emotional state of Alexandria right now. I think she's a follower at the moment. I think that she's content to support.
Okay.
And doing this ritual, I'll have access to like basically, at least narratively, I have access to like my people that are in the area, right? And
Yes.
like so I can use them, you know, as far as the scene goes. Okay. So
yes, you
right,
have
so
a.
you looking at the ritual move right now.
Yeah.
All right. Does it resist doom here? Rolling +1s. Cool. Okay, so I think at least my our part of this ritual, I think there are runes carved into the ground. Multiple of my my compatriots from my bloodline are kind of kneeling around the edge of it. Strange, you know, symbols all over their bodies, and I think they're, you know, palms down on the ground, you know, in particular spots on the runes that are carved there, and I think they're all chanting.
All right.
I don't know what you want to add to that,
Yeah.
Alexandria.
So, Alexandria, how does your bloodline's scholarly and very set down and written and law-based magic help the Magi's very instinctive and power-hungry magic?
I think that we are. I think we channel prayers, right? One of our we're a faith-driven community, so there's a faith in these texts. So maybe we're citing some incantation that is supposed to, you know, speak in support. So there's a line of maybe around the outer circle is another circle of the Holy Church, like reading books like in unison, and sort of ritual chant.
All right, nice.
I imagine that at weird moments there are like totally disparate chants like match up into these crescendos, like, you know, and kind of have these very odd synchronized, you know, moments. That'd be cool.
Nice.
Are there any physical forms to this thing? Like to this ritual?
Physical what? I'm sorry, I missed what the part.
Any physical forms? Like, you know, do you have special circles or objects or anything like that?
I guess just the runes that are carved into the ground. I imagine it kind of a very large circular thing with multiple kind of like concentric circles, odd different shaped runes in each band of that circular portion, and again like kind of, you know, hands on specific portions of this thing that are kind of, you know, and light emanating out from it. But that's all I've got as far as physical.
So you have to sacrifice relics as part of this. Is that in
Right.
sort of prior preparation resources, or like, you know, special drinks that you take to put yourself in the right mindset or that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think it's I think it's drinks made from the relics. I mean, things ground down and added to these odd concoctions that everyone, you know, drinks, you know, as they're, you know, passes around the circle as we're going.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron, do you want to roll your pact with the Magi? So that would be 1 to see how well you support them.
Doesn't seem to be working. Give me a second. That's a 4. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So there are certain times when your chanting peaks and synergizes with the Magi. There are other times when it interferes and cancels out in destructive fashion. And you can feel that as that happens, the ritual's progressed enough that there's now a sort of active opposition between the will of the Magi in the center and the Regent in their castle, locking wills and minds. And as the chants cancel out the will of the Magi, some of the Regent's power pushes through, and a couple of the path of conflagration, conflagrate and char in the sand, which will remove one of the relics that you're going to spend on this, Jesse.
Oof. Okay. I guess I'm kind of wondering how this move works. It says spend 1 to 3 relics and roll plus wands. What
Yes.
do the relic? Choose one for each relic spent. Okay, I get it now.
Yes.
Okay. So if I was to spend, I mean, I've got a lot of relics because of my bloodline move that gives me 1 relic every time the Regent's clock ticks down. So I have 5 relics, 2 that I've picked up, 3 from the thing, right? That's what I've got on my sheet here. So I would spend. What was that?
Technically, as well, Alexandria can take harm instead of spending relics because of her martyrdom move from the Holy Church.
Oh.
Just putting that out there.
Okay. I'm willing to spend 2 or 3 to just to make this like a big deal here. I don't know if you want to add anything, Alexandria, or if you want to, however we want to handle this.
Did we by chance get relics from the killing of the second ward?
I don't remember you doing so. No.
So I have 2 relics sort of sitting around. So I shall include one of those if you would like.
Okay. So, but one of my relics got destroyed, right? So I only have 4
2.
total now. Okay, so I've got 4 total. So then, I'll put in 2 if you wanted to do the one like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we'll do 3 relics.
All right. So roll plus wands.
Okay, my wands is. Come on, right there. Wands are 1. So plus 1, so 2d6 plus 1. I got a 7.
Hey, just enough. So you get to get all 3 of those because well, actually, you get to choose them multiple times.
Okay.
So you've got 3, so you can assign those 3 options however you like from that list.
Okay. I'm interested in, and Alexandria, since you're part of this ritual, you'll get a say on this. My vote, if would be like reduce Regent's clock by 1, and then take bless a weapon to strike 2 against an acolyte, giving the holy perk. Use that twice, and get a couple of weapons for that. I don't personally want to reduce my blood at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you on those decisions.
Okay. So the clock goes back to 2. 2 segments checked. And yeah, which weapons are you blessing?
Ooh, I want my eyes to have a holy perk to them, if that's possible.
I think that's probably too many at that point.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see a limit, so I'm just You tell me if that's too much. That's okay.
I probably should put a limit on. So I would say that you can give them holy if you want to replace one of the current tags for it.
You know what? I would at that point I would use it to bless the weapon of one of our other compatriots if possible.
All right.
Yeah,
sure.
So you guys can decide who wants what.
So the holy tag means that a weapon deals extra pain and damage to a particular acolyte or the regent.
My ceremonial dagger already has lingering, so I'm not sure. It seems like it might be doubling up.
But would it double up in a good way? Like it's holy lingering damage?
Yeah. So lingering it causes ongoing pain enough to make someone want to stay away from you. Holy is incapacitating pain almost. So it's pain in both sides, but one is ow, that I didn't like that, and the other is oh god, what? So
well, I mean, if you want to make the rats holy, I'm cool with that. But if somebody else wants it, it's all good.
I think we have 2. We can enchant 2 weapons. So I have a staff, but I don't really use the staff to do anything. Though I guess I did kill the last regent with the staff by hitting his. What did I do? Didn't I pin his foot or something? Anyway, I think we do a ceremonial dagger. And
okay, ceremonial dagger and the rats. Blessed.
Nice.
Wait. Are you still using the Hector? Are you still using the blood whip?
Since I've gotten my chaos eyes, that's kind of become. I haven't used my blood whip.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
kind of like the idea that the rats happen to be like running around the room and go into the circle, and that's kind of maybe they disrupt things a little bit, but they also start glowing.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Lovely. So, you've done a ritual. You're arcanely empowered. Julia, do you want to lead the way to the menagerie?
Yeah, definitely. If everyone's ready and yeah, let's head over there.
Sounds good.
I've probably been chomping at the bit since, they brought up the ritual even.
Yeah. Okay. So you make your way through Rome, and yeah, these streets are empty except where there are mobs of vigilantes roaming them, looking for anyone they can hurt to deal with, to take out the sort of this feeling of growing unease and horror. But you're competent and skilled individuals. You can sneak by them, and eventually you find yourself at the grand wrought iron fence surrounding this menagerie. Through it, you can see that sort of strange mist and fog that the scholar talked about, that you talked to Julia. And the gate is barred and locked. But you probably have ways in. What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, we have a pack rat here. I'm sure the pack rat has a way in. That's why we're bringing them along.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is the what does it look like exactly?
So it's just this big, so a stone wall with iron railings coming up the top of it, and a metal gate in the front of it. Well, the hole in the wall through which you can see the sort of dimly make out the cages going back into the fog. The gate itself is chained, I suppose, with just a big metal padlock.
Right. I think even just approaching this place, I probably would have sent out a couple of rats just to scout out the area and see if there anything, they could see any alternate ways in, little holes in the wall or tunnels or things like that. But I would also just start digging in my pack and seeing if I've got a key or a pick or something that might work for the situation.
All right. Spend a point of stock, and you can do that.
All right. Then I pull out, and I don't. If we were looking at the video game version of the pack rat, when they pull out things from their bag, they're like constantly like throwing stuff in the air that kind of just disappear, like little random objects. And so there's just like this cornucopia of whatever, and finally the big circle of like 30 odd different size keys, and Zithar just starts trying them one after another.
Nice.
Until one clicks.
And the gate swings open. All right. The gate opens and a sort of small amount of that fog that's within just drifts out, and it's cold and a little bit acrid in the nose, like a sort of smell of some wild beast's musk. And yeah, the menagerie is open to you.
That's when all the rats come back up and crawl onto my back because they're worried, and I'm going to let these guys go first.
All right. Who's taking the lead?
Well, this is kind of my whole thing, so I'm start walking in, not letting it get to me. I have a mission.
All right. So, do you want to roll Travel the Labyrinth?
Yeah.
So you can mark contamination if you like to give this roll advantage. It is rolling plus blood. Your current blood is 0, so that's plus 0.
Right. And remind me, for contamination, is that, or what are the mechanical effects of that?
All right. Every 3 points of contamination you take, you get 1 more point of blood. You get a blood advance, which either raises your stats or gives you a new move, and you get closer to becoming a pawn of the Regent.
Right. So yeah, I would definitely, like, this is on my way to ostensibly my final mission, or my driving goal. So I'm definitely going to mark contamination.
Right, yeah. So roll 3d6, take the highest. 2.
Oops. Ooh, that's a 6.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. So describe how you lead the way into this place. What are you looking for as clues to where you need to go?
So, in my haste to confront this creature, I didn't do my due diligence. I don't have a map. I just decided to rush right in instead of perhaps talking to Hector and having him use his eyes to see power or something along those lines. And so I just kind of, we're going this way and dive into this misty maze. And there are some emaciated animals pacing their cages, and we're riling up the natives, kind of thing, and completely lost.
Okay. All right. So the 3 of you, sorry, it's quite hard to keep pace with Julia as she just sort of storms into the castle. And like 2 of you are quite experienced with castle exploration now, so your sort of instincts are screaming to you to be careful. 1 of you is, well, not the most brave, so is sort of hanging back a bit with the rats. And so as you round the corner, Julia's a bit ahead of you as just a shape swiftly moves through the fog right ahead of you and carries Julia off into the darkness. So, Julia, you're grabbed by a creature, a quite familiar creature. This isn't the first time this thing has had you in its clutches. Through the fog, you can just make out this long, spindly limb grabbing you as the other 3 run at a rapid pace through these cobble-lined streets of the menagerie. Above you, you can see its great sort of pulled-back, leering head, consumed by the gaunt hunger that fills you too. What do you do?
I mean, I think at this point, I'm gonna lash out with my dagger at the limb clutching me, because I know it's a blessed, wicked, wickedly pointed thing, and hope to make it drop me.
All right. So this will be a iron roll for withstand.
Iron roll, okay. I'm just picking all the worst stats for myself today.
Nice.
Well, that's a 7.
No, that's something.
Yep. I think I'm going to. I throw the foe off balance, creating an opening,
Okay.
and I don't mark contamination.
Oh, sorry, I still haven't updated these sheets. It's meant to be
Oh.
pick 1 on a 7 to 9, pick 2 on a 10 plus. Sorry.
Okay, great. So just the first one then.
Okay, you throw them off balance. Nice. Okay, so you plunge the dagger into the beast's hand, and it sort of utters a terrible scream of pain as it drops you and onto the cobblestones, quite roughly. So you take 2 harm.
Okay.
And mark contamination as its horrible infected blood sprays onto you.
And remind me for harm.
Yes.
So can you remind me how the harm system works?
Yes, certainly. So you have 5 points of harm.
Mm-hmm.
You can mitigate harm you take by taking wounds. So a light wound means you take 1 less harm that one time, and you do one of the options to the side. A major wound, you take 3 less harm and do one of the options to the side. You automatically take a deadly wound when you hit 5 harm.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Right. So you're down on the cobblestones. The creature is sort of clutching its hand to its chest and hissing at you, and it seems off balance for a time. You could use this opening that you have to attack. You could also use this opening you have to run away.
I've already seen the hubris of just charging in here. I mean, this is the thing that I'm really trying to take down, but I need to regroup. So
Okay. All right.
I'm running off.
Okay. All right. So you, as it sort of rears back, clutching its hand and sort of tending to its wound, you just dive into the fog and run between the cages, just sprinting until it gets far away. The other 3 of you, you've been running towards this howling, and whoever's in the lead almost collides with Julia as she sprints towards you. Who is that?
Could be me.
Okay. So, Alexandra, there's a shape lunging out of the fog towards you, and you're almost ready to whack them with your staff, but then it resolves into Julia, and you can just sort of hold yourself quick. Yeah.
It's here. It's right back there.
Slow down. What's here? What did you see? What took you?
The creature. It's the one that cursed my line. It's here. It's what took me. I mean, I knew it was here, but we've only talked about it. I've never. Okay, sorry. Whew. We need to come up with a plan. Hector, is there anything or either of you really, Alexandria or Hector, is there anything you can help to about this thing that we can use to take it down?
Is there anything we would at this point? I guess I'm not. Or is there? Let's see if there's a. I don't think.
Well,
there's
that could be your call to start navigating if you like.
Yeah, I could if you want me to step in and just like. I think I would say. I think you're like breathing hard and kind of still frazzled, right? Or are you?
No, I'm definitely frazzled.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, I think I would put just a hand on your shoulder and just say something like, "Deep breaths. It's all right. We're going to get it." And then I think I kind of turn my eyes, this direction and that, and I'm just kind of looking, trying to find us a path forward here.
Okay. Travel the labyrinth.
All right. Let's see. That is. Labyrinth is plus blood. My blood is 3. All right, rolling. What is going on? I'm having trouble with the. I'm having trouble with the window here. It won't let me type into it right now. Okay, I have to close that and try and reopen it real quick. I'm sorry. Just a weird tech issue here.
It wouldn't let me roll earlier.
Yeah.
I could type in, but it wouldn't enter.
Okay, reopening there. Let's try it again. There we go. Yeah, it's gonna work, I think. 2. And that's 12.
Nice. Okay, so
Right.
you gain 1 point of Travel Labyrinth hold. Describe your insight into the ward's purpose or layout.
Okay. So this is a menagerie, you say, yeah? And is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. I think it's just something to do. Like I'm looking around. All this mist is in front of us, and I think I realized that the mistake was trying to look into the mist. I start looking at the ground, and I start to notice, just the paths. Certain directions. There's a little bit more of a sheen, and in some, on the ground, and in some areas, it's a little more worn, and that's what I start to key into, is just kind of worn paths, frequently traveled. So I assume that those will lead us to areas that we're more looking for.
Good stuff. All right. You follow these worn paths, and they eventually take you to something that looks like a groundskeeper's shed. Where there are tools for clearing out the cages, buckets of feed, that sort of thing. But there are also 2 lanterns hung up outside. Not lit, of course, but actually, no, one of them is lit. That's how you find this place. You can see it through the mist. And as you get closer to the cabin, you can see that the mist is not coming closer than the light's radiance. Like sort of boiling away as it touches, as it reaches a certain closeness to it.
Okay. So I think as we're walking, I'm probably pointing out to all my compatriots what I'm seeing on the ground, so that if they want to be, leading at any of these future points, they know what we're looking for as far as going. And then we come upon this. Do we want to take a look at these lanterns and maybe grab some and take them with us?
I think so. In general, Zithar is going to be pretty cowardly looking and kind of like looks like everything's scary and kind of sit in the middle of the group and that kind of thing. But as soon as there are objects to look at, Zithar is just going to kind of like run ahead and take a look at them. I think they'll kind of like light the other lantern and just kind of, if there are tools in the shed, and this will probably just fade into the background, but anywhere there's like things, they're just going to kind of get thrown into the sacks, and become part of the menagerie.
Yeah. So interestingly, when you light the second lantern, it doesn't have the same effect. It has this sort of weak and pale light that is barely visible through the misty haze, except when the other lantern is close by. It looks like there's actually, knowing objects as you do, you sort of snuff it out and look in the oil reserves, and there's just this sort of faint pool of silvery substance in there that just sort of briefly catches the light and flickers and glistens. And you quickly seal it up before it immolates. But
yeah, and so maybe it serves it'll shine a light in a different setting or for a different purpose. So
exactly.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and just attach that to the rest of the gear. But
Nice.
we'll hand the lantern to whoever wants to lead. It's not us.
All right. Who is that then?
I'll go.
Go for it.
Okay.
What is this? Plus blood?
Yes. 3.
Okay. 9.
Nice. Okay. What is your insight into the ward's purpose and layout?
So I feel like we follow these trails, and like we're just starting to follow these trails now, right? Like in the last ward, we realized that there were trails. I guess we're hunting something at this point, right? Because on a 7 to 9, the castle is going to contain denizens or traps. So I guess we are maybe hunting the same thing that captured Julia earlier.
Okay.
I guess that's not really what we know about the place. I think we know that maybe the path splits. One a little bit more well worn, and one less well worn. Am I remembering correctly that the creature has some type of crystal that we need to it protects, right? So maybe one of these paths goes toward the crystal, like a nest of some sort, and the other path goes to their feeding ground.
Okay, that's cool. All right. And you follow the one to the crystal, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So you walk following the more worn cobblestones, as Hector suggested. And as you hold the lantern up, at a certain point, you hear sort of hissing and growling. And it's not from the cages on either side of you. As you look into them with the lantern's light, as you've been walking with the lantern's light, you've seen that these cages do contain animals. You know, they're bears from the Russian forests, strange grazing animals from the plains of Africa, that sort of thing. They're all emaciated and basically almost starved of the ability to live. Most of them are actually sort of lying on the floor, shuddering out weak breaths. But ahead of you, you can see shapes moving in the mist. And as you lift up the lantern's light, it picks out, they look like people, ordinary citizens in ragged clothing, but they are incredibly drawn and emaciated. Their flesh almost melted off their body, and their fingers, the skin has sort of pulled back such that there is only the tips of bones that look sharp. They've seen the light for sure, but it's a question of whether they see it as a threat or not.
These people are in the cages, or they're...
No, they're in the cobblestone street ahead of you.
Can I peer at them? Sorry, were you going to do something, Andrew or Alexandria? Go for it.
I think I was just going to walk straight in. If you want to hold me back or something, I'm open to it.
I'm not going to stop you if you're going to do it. I'll probably walk with you, but behind you, if that's your plan.
I'll walk very behind you, but I'll call all my rats to me.
All right, nice.
Younglings.
Okay.
I think I see these kind of like the first ward that we saw, where all these people were lined around this altar, and the instinct was to free them. And I think I see humanoids, and I think that they are people that need to be freed. And so I sort of just walk straight in, sort of hands out, like in some form of blessing, like, "Cool, I will save you. I will save you." Sort of God complex.
All right. So you walk forward, announcing your benediction to them, and they move back. They are unsure what to make of you as you advance towards them. But then there is, well, actually, yeah, Hector, you're sort of walking beside. You can see as Alexandria is trying to, extend the hand of peace to these creatures, to these people. They're sort of falling back. One of them is occasionally glancing off to the side. And you can see you follow their gaze, and you can see in the cage next to you, another one of them has just finished sort of lifts their head up from the side of a deer that was on the floor in there, their face red with blood, and their eyes narrow looking at Alexandria, and their legs coiled, sort of ready to jump over the fence, it looks like. What do you do?
So I think So they're just, it's an imminent, like from what I can see, an imminent jumping and attack. Yes. Is that the case, or is it okay? Okay, I don't have a moment to. Okay, all right.
Well,
so I think.
What do you do? Is the question. What do you do is the question.
Okay. I think it's going to be a reaction. I think I'm going to look specifically. I see where it is. I see its like trajectory of a spring. That's kind of like, just my eyes are kind of piecing this together, and I think I'm going to attack it as it moves. As soon as it jumps, it's gonna I'm gonna try and blast it with my chaos eyes.
Okie dokie. Give me a face the horde roll.
All right. Horde, and that is iron, which is 0. Let's see. And that is a 4.
Oh dear.
Can I narratively? Can I say maybe maybe the miss happens because I get you to stop? Maybe I see it too, and it's just no, these are our people.
Yeah, sure.
I dig that.
So you sort of push Hector to the side, and this beam of angry starlight just sort of smashes into the cobblestones, and then Sting chunks up, and the creature leaps, sails through the air, and lands on you, Alexandria, as you're pushing Hector back, knocking you to the floor, and it's sort of standing over you, its fangs bared and still dripping with the blood of that deer. Julia, you've been back a bit from this. What do you make of these people? Obviously, they're quite familiar to you. To you, they look in sort of the late stages of the affliction.
Right. They look like those members of my family that gave in to the curse and that didn't fight against it, and we deal with in various ways that have given us a bad reputation, either locking them away or putting them down as need be. And so I know that there's no entreating with them or anything like that. They just simply need to be put down. And when I struck that creature, and some of its rot and contamination got on me, I have some on my blade now, and this is, the blood of their maker. I'm gonna, while it's involved with Alexandria, use that to really quickly inscribe a rune, cutting into my skin, and kind of mixing my blood with its blood, and trying to I kind of just want to roll the dice and see how great, if I get a really good roll or a really bad roll. But I guess what I'm really trying to do is break the curse, and let's see if it's on one person or on a number of people.
Okay, interesting.
Such a great risky maneuver. I love it.
Yeah, I think that will probably be sulfur. You're trying to draw on the power of this place, draw on the power of the blood on your blade to do something magical. So yeah. Sulfur.
And I got a 3.
Oh God. All right. So a couple of things happen. First up, Alexandria, you get torn up a little as this creature sort of swipes at you with its claws, hissing. So you take a point of harm because it's just a minion. But Julia, you feel that corruption within you surge another step. So you should mark contamination, and your mind just sort of fills with hunger and bloodlust.
Wow.
Okay, so Alexandria, you're on the floor being torn into by this person, this frenzied person. Yeah, Toma.
Can I jump in for a second?
Yes.
I think Zithar is like looking at their compatriots here, and coming into the place, they looked like these stalwart adventurers with all their gear, and they obviously know what's going on. And at this point, I think Zithar's just starting to freak out, like, "Oh my God, I'm going to die! These people are crazy!" And they call out to the rats, and they just scream, "Protect us! Protect us!" And the rats just go each different direction to attack or defend or whatever they can. And
nice.
Likewise. And I have so my move is hirelings.
Yes.
So part of what they do is they carry extra gear for me, which is why I have a higher stock. But it also says when they fight alongside you, you can get advantage on strike or face the horde or
whatever. All right.
So I basically want to strike out or defend them.
This would be face the horde.
Okay.
If you want to roll plus iron, so that's 0. Roll 3 dice, take the highest.
Okay.
So they have tether and holy. Okay, but grazing.
Yes. So they don't do much damage. And normally, what the tether part is normally, they have like little leashes, and so if they attack, if I'm doing an attack thing, like I'll grab all these leashes and throw them out and kind of like try to hold down whatever this thing is. But oh, well, there we go. I get my boxcars.
Yes.
6, 6, and 5. Holy crap.
Good. All right. Good. So do you want to pick one from the list of face the horde options as your rats just sort of swarm over this mob?
Okay. Oh, so I pick one of those, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna say maybe more are coming. Like we've attracted, others. So enough to like beat them back here. Like maybe we're not quite in as horrible a position we were in, but we can see in the distance more of them are on their way.
Okay, so this carpet of rats just swarms out, and Alexandria, the one on top of you, is just sort of pushed over by a whole bunch of them, who then start sort of biting it and nibbling it and sort of tying these leashes around its neck and its legs. Same goes for the ones further back. Well, actually, no, I'd say the ones further back sort of back away from this tide. They're really unsure what to do. And they let loose a sort of scratchy voiced howl as they do so, which you hear answered deeper in the mist. But yeah, so Alexandria, you're free. You can see this creature sort of fighting against the rats there. It's not dead or anything, but it's not having a nice time. Looking back over to where the rats came from, you can see Zithar standing there, commanding their rats. And next to them, you can see Julia holding this blade and just sort of looking hella angry and just trying to control their breath, but also looking on the verge of snapping. What do you do?
Okay, so these rats are climbing on these people. The people that are far away are howling to something else, and the people that are close by are dead,
incapacitated.
Dying? Incapacitated
for now.
Are there open cages nearby?
Yeah, there could be.
I think I'm still not ready to kill them, and so I'm just trying to push them into cages and close them up until we can until Julia has a chance to perhaps try her decorrupting something or other a little bit later. But for now, we need to control them and so I want them caged.
Okay. Julia, how's it going over there? Do you think you're staying in control or having trouble with that?
So you said at contamination 3,
Yes.
you go up in blood, and you can get a blood gift or +1 to a stat, right? All right. So I've already done that. I picked the Unquiet Flesh, which is your body is shifting to become something ancient. You may mark contamination to grow an organ or limb. Which kind of fits in with what's going on.
Yeah, sure. So what do they see?
Wow.
So, I mean, I said I was carving this symbol into my own skin to kind of commingle, those who fought against the corruption with the corruption itself to try and, strengthen yada, 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 mystical stuff. And I cut too deep and actually accidentally nicked an artery or a vein, and the contamination got into that. And I'm not bleeding out or anything, but I have just dark, corrupt looking blood leaking from my eyes. I'm literally seeing red. And yeah, I'm breathing heavily and just we don't have time for this. We need to attack the ancestor. We need to take him down. That will solve all of this. We need to go. And I'm looking fretfully through the mists, like I'm about ready to bolt into him.
All right. Okay. And your flesh is crawling, which is normally an expression, but the others can see that it's sort of like faint ripples moving through it as you try and sort of maintain this control. It's sort of in waves with your breath. So Hector, there are creatures being held down by rats and restrained. There are others howling for assistance. What's the plan?
So I think I see Alexandria shuttling all these, bodies, people into these cages. I see all the, all of Zithar's rats just around doing their crazy thing, making sure we're good. I hear the howling in the distance, from these others, and of course I see Julia having a moment over there of some sort. And I think all of a sudden my eyes just are swiveling back and forth between different areas. I'm trying to read this dangerous situation to kind of figure out what our best next option is.
All right, see clear.
All right, let's do it. So see clear is plus glass, and my glass is good. Glass is 3. Okay. All right. Love that my stat is glass. It's the only thing I have points in, so I'm literally a glass cannon. It's just wonderful. All right. I rolled an 11. All
right. Wow. Yeah, nice. So that is 3 questions.
Perfect. Okay. All right. The three are going to be what should I be on the lookout for? What here is valuable, and which exit will take me to my goal? And that goal being the crystal that Julia has told us about.
Okay. So what exit will take me there? It's actually the direction that those howls, the answering howls, were coming from.
Okay.
You asked what should I be on the lookout for, right?
Yes.
And what can the enemies here do? Or
no. What's
valuable to you? Okay, nice. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what here is valuable is that one of the cages nearby has a big ring of keys dangling from its door.
Okay, I'll definitely grab those.
It contains, the master keys to basically everything here. Next to the gate is the body of somebody in servant's robes with their throat ripped out. So
I think I grabbed those keys, but I tossed them to Zithar.
Okay. And
it just disappears in a bag.
what you should be on the lookout for is those answering creatures. So they will be coming directly here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
From your analysis of the monsters that the people that Alexandria is herding into the cage, they don't have a lot of abstract thinking. It's direction, goal, go straight towards it. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's what you should be on the lookout for.
Okay, I think I quickly relay, so I toss the keys off to Zithar. I quickly relay that information, and I say, because I also have to describe what I see in the place, right? Or no, that's for the other move. That's the other move. Okay, so I describe exactly what you said. I'm like, our path lies towards those howls, but I think that we can evade them if we're intelligent.
All right. So, will you be intelligent?
Yeah, I don't know. Anybody want to lead this?
I will lead intelligence. Intelligence meaning, like, worried about our survival. Is that this roll plus blood thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, you can mark contamination to get advantage if you like.
Oh. No, I'm just gonna roll.
Okay.
Let's just roll and see what happens.
Roll plus 0. Well,
8.
It's an 8. Okay. So it gets you another hold. Yeah. So, what do you now understand better about the ward's purpose or layout?
I'm gonna say it's almost like a little bit of a maze, right? Kind of in the direction we're headed. There's always like 3 paths, right? And lots of little dead ends. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And so what the advantage I have is I'm constantly throwing, like, as soon as we get to a crossroads, 3 little rats or whatever will go in the different directions, and very quickly we'll get squeaks or 2 of them come back because they hit a dead end, so we immediately follow the remaining path. So we're kind of using that to our advantage to quickly navigate something that would normally take us a lot longer.
Okay. So this labyrinth, this maze, would you say it was designed to make it hard to get to your destination or hard to get away from your destination?
I would say it'd be hard to get to your destination quickly. So it would normally, you would get, if something was chasing you, for example, then it would easily catch up, right? I think that's where I was coming from.
Nice. All right. So,
and whenever a rat comes back from their little dead end, I throw them a little piece of cheese or something.
Makes sense. Okay. So, some castle denizens or traps. Yeah. So, you get to the end of these cobbled streets of the menagerie, and there's just some rough dirt and then a sort of field of tall grass spreading out, sort of where you might have a horse or deer or antelopes or whatever set free to sort of run and gamble for the pleasure of the emperor if they were here to watch. There are ornamental trees and rock features and that sort of thing. And you know that this is the direction you're meant to go, and you sort of triangulated your way around the horde that was coming to try and attack you. So this is where you should be going, but you're not quite sure where.
I'm going to just stop and shrug and hope that one of these people I'm with knows something.
I will ask one of my spirits for advice.
Go for it.
This has never failed us before.
Nope.
Hell yeah, that's a 12.
Nice. Okay. Pick a downside.
Say the spirit will confuse parts of its past for the present. Like that one.
Okay.
And then I choose a question. Is there a particular?
Yes.
Is there a list?
No.
Okay. So at this point, at this juncture, we're still looking for the crystal, right?
Yes.
Then I want to know where that hell crystal is.
All right. Okay. And so the gauzy, actually, we said that the spirit revealed its true form to you at the end of last session, didn't we?
Yes.
What was that true form again?
I don't remember. And I don't see it in my notes.
Was it that it sort of... So these spirits are meant to be a sort of perfected legend, right? Like an ideal.
Well, the spirit itself is the spirit of this shield maiden who's inscribed in a legend, right? So I think it might just be. I think it might be humanoid. I think it's some spectral figure of this shield maiden. But I do remember one of the things that I have written down is that we had to find a constellation for her, right? Yeah, that's all. It might be unrelated.
All right.
It's kind of a cool idea that they reveal, or she reveals, like any of her true whatever, but you just forget it after a while. Like it almost becomes like a dream or a memory, so you just can't remember.
All right. Yeah, so that sounds good.
Good excuse for our shitty memory.
All right. So she appears again in front of you, gauzy and insubstantial, and says, Alexandria, you stand at the beach of a vast ocean. I remember crossing an ocean of water, not grass, in search of a treasure. Long ago, a vast gem that sparkled with sapphire light. And the journey was dangerous, yes, treacherous. There were reefs and shoals and banks hidden under the water, ready to run us aground. You should watch how you travel, but look for the island, an island rising out of this sea of green. That's where you need to go.
I look around for an island. I tell my peeps, look around for an island.
All right. Well, as I said, there were sort of rock formations sort of rising out of the grass as sort of ornamental stones and such.
I think I'd just say, Zithar, send your rats, check the stones. It's here somewhere.
All right. You send your rats out into the grass?
Yeah.
You hear a click and then a snap.
Oh.
And suddenly rising up out of the grass ahead of you, some distance away, about 6 or 7 meters, snapping shut the jaws of a steel trap with one of your rats caught in it.
Joroon!
So lose a point of stock, I say.
Yes.
Sorry.
And when you say trapped, it was like a little like
a bear trap,
right? Is there anything else that was revealed? I mean, it was a trap amongst the little island, or is there anything?
So it's pretty long grass. It comes up to about your waist.
Right. Would I feel confident that there are no other traps because the rats have kind of gone through that area, like they've kind of triggered the one?
I would say that your rats sort of moved out in an expanding wave, and as soon as one of them hit one of these, they sort of froze and ran
Right.
back to you.
Right.
So you got the closest one, probably.
I go and lean down, and I'm assuming my rat's dead.
Yeah, sorry.
And I pick up little Jaroon and dig kind of like a little hole for it. And and I think this is going to be something that the longer you've traveled with me, the more often it happens. But you'll hear me say, "You are no longer Zithar. You are now Jaroon." And I put him down to rest.
Okay. So, the other three, while Zithar is performing this ritual, what do you do?
I mean, I can try to fuse with my spirit to see. One of the examples you give is a burst of flight. Maybe I can fly above and try to spy the traps and or the crystal. If somebody else doesn't have a better idea or a more interesting idea.
I think that makes sense.
Cool.
My only idea is to do another sea clear, but yeah, that sounds more interesting, frankly.
All right.
All right.
Hey, give me a spiritual fusion roll.
That is a 9.
All right.
And I'll use 1 to fly.
Okay. So this ethereal light gathers around you, and then you just sort of launch into the air. And from above, you can see the sort of glinting metal of dozens of these bear traps just scattered through this grass in sort of spirals surrounding that rock in the center of the grass.
Is it clear to me that we have to are we going to need to walk through this? Like, should I be directing them across to get to some exit, or are we just here to get the crystal? And then
so it looks like there's a hole in the crystal, actually a sort of entrance to a cave or cavern or something. So you may want to have help when you head down there because you don't know what's down there.
Oh. Okay. Then I think I'll direct.
Okay.
Walk.
Sounds good. So you just sort of shout down directions to these people and see where they want to go. Nice. Do you want to give me a... Oof. No, I'd say you probably don't need a roll for this. You've done the spiritual thing, and that's cool enough. So with Alexandria sort of floating above, glowing with holy radiance and shouting directions, the three of you can make your way past these traps and into the island, the rock, where there is indeed this cut in the rocks, a cleft through which you can see a tunnel going down underground. There's that sort of fetid animal musk that you smelt upon entering the ward and upon entering the menagerie. It's just rising out of here in waves. This is the creature's nest, probably. So, do you want to spend that 3 hold to find the Acolyte Sanctuary?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, quick question.
Yes.
Are we planning to? We're playing a 3-hour session, right?
Yes.
Are we planning to do any like short break or anything like that?
Yeah. Tell me when you need one, and we can. I mean, do you want to go for that now, or
just whenever is a good time? I mean, narratively, I'm
okay?
Cool.
I think this is probably a good place now. So if we say 5-minute break or something.
Yeah.
So I'd make that 18 minutes past the hour for 5 minutes. So
cool.
Okay. Cool.
So this is the 4th session, right?
Yes, it is.
How and you're just playtesting it, right?
Yes, I am.
How are you liking it so far?
I'm really having a good time. The first few sessions, I think, took me a while to find my feet a little bit, especially sort of running games for the Gauntlet is not something I'd done before. But yeah, I really enjoyed last session. This one's pretty great so far. Yeah.
It's fun.
And, you know, every week I find something new to tweak or improve. So that's always nice.
I really like all the various stats and things. Like, it's very evocative. Like, it feels like it's hitting the right marks.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's definitely producing fiction I'm happy with. So
Yeah.
So this series is actually really useful because the main chunk of the book I have left to write is the GMing rules, and so having this series to review and make me think, like, why did I do that? Was it the best thing to do? Is there a better way of done that? Is going to be really useful. So the 4 of you head down this cave entrance into a cavern that, well, is filled with that thick fog that, well, who's holding the lantern?
The fog lantern?
Yes.
The original one? Who was that?
I think
that
Alexandria was given it.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So the fog parts in front of your lantern, but as you go down, you can see that it's illuminated with this crimson glow. And eventually your fog picks out this crystal sort of growing up out of the center of the floor, where all sorts of bones and animal bodies and human corpses have been piled up in a mound. This crystal seems to have been sort of growing up from them like a seedling fertilized by manure. And it's just encrusted there in the center of the cavern. And with the light of your lantern, you can see, picking out a sort of shape moving through the fog around the periphery of this cavern, just stalking and watching and pacing there. So, who's going to take the lead into the cavern, into this arena?
I think I'm still flying, so I think I'm...
You probably had to sort of touch down as you go through this cave.
All right.
It's quite
narrow.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, Julia's probably, again, very much, you know, she's shaken off the majority of the blood rage, or I've shaken off most of the blood rage, but I'm still really driven to go after this thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you can go for it if you want.
Sounds good.
Hand you the torch as you walk by.
All right, so you're at the head of the group, holding this lantern high and pushing back the fog. And where are you heading? Towards the crystal?
Yes, but I look back at my compatriots and, you know, quietly whisper, you know, make sure, keep your eyes open. And I'm especially looking at Hector. Yeah.
All right.
I think I do that, so we can kind of see it like kind of slinking around the edges, where you said, right? Yeah. So I think at this point, that's exactly what I'll be doing. You know, wherever I see it, I will be. I'll be analyzing its movements and trying to predict what's going to happen here. Trying to lean into the line it up move.
Okay, good possible stuff. Sounds good. I mean, and with True Sight, you can probably it's not that you can pierce the fog, but you can track back the movements of the walls and eddies in the fog to what might have caused it. Sort of that instinctive chaos theory working back of where the thing that is disturbing the fog must be. So
Nice.
do you want to give me a glass roll?
Yes. All right. $11.
Nice.
Right.
So you spot an opening. Where is it coming from?
Okay. Let's see. Not be. You find an opening. Say where it's coming from. Does this make sense? I think my eyes are like kind of like, with the powers I've got, I'm kind of always like processing multiple possible futures, so I never know which is going to actually happen, always, but like I can kind of key into it. I think I see one where we're going after, like, where this creature thinks we're going after the crystal, and it jumps out to defend the crystal and puts itself in harm's way, or opens itself up to something, and that's what I notice is the opening that will occur as soon as we're able to make any move towards the crystal.
Nice. Okay. So pick an option from the line it up list.
Okay. I think it only lasts a few moments. It's a very quick, like, it darts out of the it's foggy in here, right? You said,
Yes.
Yeah, so it really just darts out very quickly out of that fog to kind of right in front of the crystal or whatever to defend it momentarily, but it's only available for just a second.
All right. So you have just enough time to relay this prediction to your compatriots as the group moves carefully towards the crystal. Before this beast, all gangly, multi-jointed limbs and emaciated flesh, rushes out of the fog towards you. It sort of leaps down and lands in front of you, its teeth bared, growling, ready to strike. Which of you is ready to take advantage of that?
Since Julia's right up front, I mean, if this thing's jumping right in front of her, yeah.
All right. Well, possibly not 100% close enough for your dagger, because that's close. But I don't know. Maybe you could lunge for it.
I have this move called Binding, which is when you land a strike on your adversary.
Yes.
Does that earlier attack, would that qualify as a strike? I imagine no.
Probably not. No, that was just you sort of distracting it.
You're right. Okay. In which
you do
case,
have the unquiet flesh.
Yeah, I do have unquiet flesh. I'm trying to think what I should do in this. I mean, I think what I'm going to do is mark a contamination to grow an extra long limb to attack it with my dagger. And I think this limb kind of sprouts from my right shoulder blade, and of course it's a bony limb that looks like it belongs to this creature, and it just kind of like explodes out, and I toss my dagger forward and it catches it and strikes at it.
That's very cool. All right, give me a strike roll with yeah, that's probably is that stealth and guile, physical force, precise insight, or sorcery?
I mean, it is unexpected.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I'd say I'm happy with that. So go with Mercury.
Okay. That's a 9.
Okay. So you damage one of its qualities. So its qualities are this horrible fog, or the its status as a feral vector, meaning that it can infect you and claw you and do horrible things to you.
I think
technically it does have the immortal quality as well, but you need to do specific things to get rid of that.
Right. I think I'm going to go for the infectious vector one.
Okay. All right. So you lunge forward and just sort of. How does your stabbing it with this holy blade cut away its ability to infect you?
So, when my blade strikes it, there's this is a much more substantial hit than that earlier low glancing thing to make it drop me. And I think there's a bright flash, and the holy energy in the dagger burns away. It's the infection that covers it, whether that's a physical, I don't like. It's, if we can just say, I guess, that it was dripping ichor and all that stuff, and then all that's been burnt away, and it's just clean bone at this point.
Okay. It sort of staggers back, clutching its ruined head in its hands and moaning this horrible wail, and then its eyes open and they are just sort of, blood is just pouring out of them, as yours were earlier, and it just looks at you through this red veil and screams horrible, bitter anger as it sort of ducks back into the fog. Yeah. So it is now holding back from you. It's trying to look at what you. Oh, you have binding, of course. So you just landed a strike on an adversary.
Right. And do I have to choose right now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to use the weapon as a sympathetic weapon, or use the wound as a sympathetic weapon.
Okay. So the next time you have an opportunity to use an opening, you can use that one.
Right.
With ranged, piercing, painful.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right. Okay, so you step up and disturbingly strike back at your maker. But the creature vanishes into the fog, and that crystal starts pulsing as if its energy is being directed somewhere. Who acts next?
I think Alexandria is going to go smash the crystal if she can.
Okie dokie. All right. So you run over to the crystal. And it's about like 4 or 5 meters tall, growing out of this nest of corpses. And you can see sort of what looks to be almost liquid moving around inside of it. What's your plan?
So how big is this crystal?
About 5 meters tall, 2 meters across.
We're in a cavern. I think I'm gonna. What's my weapon? I have staff with lingering. If it's not something that we think can be destroyed by the staff, then perhaps I'm picking up a stone.
Okay. You pick up a stone. You can hear a sort of that wailing from the mist of the creature in pain sort of abate, and it just sort of, it goes silent.
I tell my comrades to cover me.
All right. The three of you at the sort of... So, Alexandria has gone up to look at the crystal. The three of you are in the center of the cavern near it, and just looking out into the fog. as shapes sort of ripple and part. And then suddenly the fog parts and the creature charges out of it again, swinging its claws towards Hector. Not Hector, actually. Sithar, yeah. The sort of straggler at the back. That seems like who a predator would go for.
Preying on the weakest.
Ooh, harsh. So there's this horrid creature bearing down on you, Zithar. Are you a rabbit in the headlights, or are you rat scuttling into a burrow?
I think my inclination would be to toss stuff up in its way. So I would probably grab some random items and kind of toss it in its face as I fall back.
Okay. So is that to cover your retreat or try and knock it back on its ass?
Yeah, cover retreat.
Okay. Give me a dodge roll then.
Okay.
So that's with Mercury.
All right. Mercury, I think that's my thing. Yeah. Retreating is my thing. Oh, 6.
Yeah, that's not a good that's not a good
probably
roll you done there.
Pull like a toothbrush or some other like completely irrelevant object and throw it up into its face.
Yeah, you're just backing away, throwing these your toiletries at it, and you're like, I swear I've got some explosives here. And
Yeah.
as you're sort of berating your rats in your jacket for not sort of passing you the best things, the claws come down, and just sort of a single claw most of them miss you, but a single one just sort of goes right through your leg. And then away, tearing out a chunk of you. So take 3 harm.
3 harm, that's a big chunk.
Yeah. So you could, if you wish, take a wound to mitigate these, but...
yeah, let's do that. So 1 wound would mitigate like all the harm or what? Or
no,
harm?
so a light wound...
Oh, it's -1, got it.
Yeah.
And what do I need to know about harm? When it gets to what point?
When it gets to 5, you take a deadly wound.
Got it. That makes sense. That's what I see here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks about right. Can I take a major wound here? So
yeah.
Fall back and recuperate, healing 1 harm.
So you don't have any harm to recuperate at the moment, because that would take you down to 0.
Yeah. But let's do that anyways, because I like the play possum, making foes focus on someone else.
So you choose one of those to do it. So yeah, you can choose the play possum one.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right. Think up a word for the major wound and write it in the box.
Oh yeah. Okay, we'll do.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think everybody sees like that claw come out and blood, kind of fly off in a little spray. And this big animal falls to the ground and looks like it could be dead.
Yeah. All right. Well, Zithar is certainly dead. Who was standing closest to him out of Hector and Julia?
Probably Hector, since I think Julia was closer to the center of things, right? I think you were closest towards where he originally was. Okay. Yeah, so I assume I was probably there.
All right, so you see this thing just take down Zithar and then turn to you, its claws dripping with blood, like with a sort of look of you're next. Okay. What do you do?
Okay, so, all right. It's not actively, it's not actively coming at me in this moment. It's just like it's preparing kind of deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Strike, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Let's see. I think. Let me see. All right. Yeah, it's time for and next you'll say. Okay. So I think it's got to happen at least once per big battle here. All right. So I stand up straight and take even a step towards it, and all the sound in the room deadens down for a moment, and then my voice comes out in this very resonating way, and I say, "I have seen it in the stars." You will leap at me, attack me, try to kill me. It might not go well. Dare you defy this future?
Okay. All right. Give me a glass roll.
Okay. Let's see. Nine.
Okay, so they can choose one of the two. Do it or stumble, hesitate, or flinch. So I think you're probably aiming for the 10 plus result there, right? Because it's going to do it.
Yeah, I know. It didn't work.
Yeah.
I was going for the gusto here.
All right. So it sort of grins as like, yes, the fates have predicted my victory. It's not what it says, but it's sort of, you feel the sort of aura of confidence from it. And yeah, it leaps at you. Claw swinging down. What do you want to do? So, Julia, you are right next to Hector. You can try and interfere with this if you wish.
Yeah.
Because part of my announcing this stuff is to always give my compatriots like an idea of what could or will happen, so that they can react as well. So.
Yeah.
Okay. So my blade has lingering on it, which means it kind of wants to avoid me, right?
Yeah.
So my goal is, I guess, I don't know if I can use dodge to do this, but basically dodge into the way of the attack, and then it's already afraid of me. I've caused it pain a couple of times, and have it flinch away from the attack.
I will say that does sound more like you're confronting danger head on, I've got to say.
Okay.
But one of you could try and help the other with this, of course.
I could definitely help, and I think it's kind of already fictionally there with my prediction of exactly where things are going to be happening and whatnot. So I could be in helping.
All right. So given it all based on the prediction, that sounds like a glass roll to help.
Okay, sounds great.
And of course, you can spend a point of covenant if you have one with.
Where do I find that?
You do. You do.
I do. Okay, then I'm going to spend that point.
All right. Puts it down to
how
0.
do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, where is
so
that?
When one of you risks danger or cost to aid the other, strengthen the covenant. So that seems pretty neutral. Then it'll go down by 1 and then up by 1.
Okay. So that gives me what does that give me? That gives me
advantage on this.
Advantage. All right, so it's 3d6 plus 3. And I built a glass cannon, so
Yeah.
All right, that is a 9.
Is it?
Oh wait, is it? No, it didn't do it.
No,
oh,
you didn't do roll. You didn't say roll.
No, I didn't. I mistyped it. Sorry. Let's see.
8 plus 3.
What did I do? Oh my gosh, I typed in the wrong thing. Sorry about that. Yeah, 8
so
plus 3. It's an 11.
Okay.
Typing difficulties.
So, Julia, do you want to give me a iron roll with advantage?
Okay.
The good news is that you've definitely bought time for Hector to get away. The question is how it works out for you.
That is a 9.
Okay. All right. So pick one from the withstand list.
And I think, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I throw the foe off balance, creating an opening.
Okay. All right. So I think it is utterly, enraged. It is surging and not going to stop at any point. But you can jump in front of Hector and be all right. See this knife? You don't want to be near this knife. And it swings its hand down towards you, and it does sort of knock you back. But then that really sort of reminds it why it doesn't want to be near the knife, because you're holding it out, and it sort of clutches its hand again. It's just screaming in pain now. So yeah, you take another 3 harm probably from it just sort of slicing at you.
Okay. I'm going to take a major wound for that.
Sounds good.
And then I'm going to fall back and recuperate healing
good.
1.
So this creature is now sort of recoiling and screaming, and actually, yeah, Alexandria, you can see the crystal sort of pulsing and boiling now as I said that it looked like there was liquid inside it. It sort of looks like that liquid's level is dropping precipitously, and as it's doing so, the light shifting is showing you sort of cracks and seams in the crystal where it has been formed. So this counts as an opening.
Yeah, I'm gonna smash that sucker.
All right, good stuff. Give me an iron roll.
That is a 6.
Okay, good to know. So you bring the rock up to slam into the crystal, and yeah, you break it, you smash it open, and the blood just flows over you in a torrent, just knocking you off this pile and down to the ground. And yeah, what do you get? Yeah, I would say that's a point of contamination to you, for one thing. And this blood is still there, pooling on the floor, and it's now sort of flowing towards the beast, like wanting to merge with it. Yeah, so Zithar, from your position on the floor, you can see this this wave of blood coming towards you.
So we kind of knew that we wanted to destroy this crystal, right?
Yeah. Well, you wanted to destroy the source of the creature's immortality. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I think, Zithar, like, as soon as he's like down on the ground and kind of like looking dead, they just start grabbing for keeps looking. Oh, I think just immediately after that, grabs into one of their bags and pulls out, what effectively is a big stick of dynamite, right?
Okay.
And like 1 minute too late, right? If only that had been the thing that they'd thrown in the face of this thing. But I think looking over at all that goop and stuff, Zithar takes it and lights it and just kind of rolls it toward that pool of goop and hopes that blowing it up will cause some problem for the creature.
All right, nice. Okay, so this is a strike with, I think, class. I think this is a sort of insight or environmental sort of thing.
Okay, and this is my armament, my homemade explosive thing. My one thing that actually does damage. So what do I roll?
That would be plus glass. So
plus glass, got it. Okay.
1.
So, and you said you could take corruption to get advantage?
That was just on travel.
Or is that only under certain? Right. Okay. Then, okie dokie. Crossing fingers. Woo! That +1 was useful.
All right. So you throw the dynamite into the pool of blood and it explodes, vaporizing this weird, pulled up arcane blood. And the creature sort of was reaching out for it, sort of summoning to it, and then just sort of falls back and is like, its eyes going wide. And yeah, what would it do? It swings its hand, and the fog that was filling this chamber just sort of surges in towards it, completely blinding all of you apart from Julia with the lantern. And even you, Julia, you can only see, 3 or 4 meters around you. So none of you quite know where the other is now, but yes, the creature is trying to hide from you, you think. Hector. Oh, no, Julia, go for it. Go for it.
Okay. So we're in this. This creature has disappeared into the fog, and we are separated. But I have this lantern. I'm going to draw on the mystical nature of this lantern and the alchemical fuel it burns, and try and basically like fairy fire the creature, like just light it up so that we can actually see it. And it feels like we're in a mystical area. What I'm really aiming to do is to drink deep.
Okay. And, yeah, that's cool.
Channel the energy to light up the creature.
I say go for it. So roll plus sulfur.
Yeah. That's an 8.
Nice. All right. So mark contamination, and you learn that ability. The ability to outline something in glowing fire and make it visible to all.
And then can I just go ahead and do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So you have to pick one from the drink deep list when you cast it.
Okay, so that's how it works. I either mark contamination, forget the spell, or take 1 harm. I think I'm going to forget the spell, and the way I'm kind of envisioning that is it consumes the alchemical fuel of the lantern.
Okay, nice. All right. So you absorb the power. You hold this lantern. You sort of hold a hand over the fuel and gather its essence, and then just sort of fling it into the fog, and it spreads over the creature and then sets on fire. And all of you, even if you can't see, the floor in front of you, can see this fire burning in the fog in the shape of the creature, and it screeching in pain. I'll say this counts as an opening. Who wants to take advantage of it?
I want to fly again. I still have 1 more hold.
Yes, you do.
I'm going to fly, and then I'm going to smash my staff down on the head of this thing.
All right, nice. That sounds like iron to me.
That is a 8 plus 0. That is an 8.
Okay. You smash it on the head and bring it to the ground, where it burns in a heap. And the oil sort of burns away the fog around it, and the fog around this entire area, as this creature just sort of withers and falls in on itself until there's just a spindly mess of bones there.
Gimli style, I turn to Hector and I'm like, that's 2 for me, 1 for you.
But Julia, this creature its life is fading fast. It's almost dead. Probably there's something you need to do.
Yeah, so I want to do my soul vessel.
Sounds good.
When you defeat a minion of the Regent, you can catch its spirit if you do roll plus sulfur.
Yes.
So while it's fastly diminishing on the ground, I'm going to run over, and my ceremonial dagger, I think, has a crystal in its base, and I'm going to do a ritual to capture it in that crystal. But I don't, because I got a 4.
Oh, no. All right. What I'll say happens is, you try and capture it, but it already has something in here that is set up to hold its life essence, which is some of the few remaining fragments of blood that are still pooling on the floor. And so it just moves straight past your crystal and into those. You can just see these patches just sort of glowing faintly with energy as they sort of dry out and disperse. You can obviously run over and grab some of them, but you're not quite sure if this is going to be enough for what you need.
Okay, yeah, I will collect whatever I can.
All right. So, Acolyte defeated.
Can I use my miracle of science real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I think a bunch of us took some damage here. I think this is the moment where I'll probably go and grab its like skeletal head and hold it aloft in my hand and just kind of like have a moment of like a impassioned speech of like one more acolyte down. The Regent will know the fear of us, and our coming will be its doom. And so I'm trying to inspire those around you, restoring 4 harm to all explorers nearby.
Okay. So all of you can hear the sort of burning power behind Hector's words in pouring through this skull and absolving it of corruption and taint, and feel that invigorating you all. So yeah, you all heal 4 harm. And yeah, so also because you defeated a Regent, Acolyte, why do I keep saying that? You can add 1 to your blood if you like and take a blood gift. And you can add 1 to your covenant with another explorer if you wish.
So I'm at 4 blood.
Yes.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't want to raise blood. Just going to say that right now.
Yeah, I'm just getting to 4 blood, so that's perfect. I'll take another blood gift.
So when you get 1 blood, you can just grab one of these gifts.
Yes,
okay.
Which are either +1 to a stat or an advance, right, or a extra move. So it's a blood advance technically. So basically, either get +1 to a stat or take one of these extra moves. Is how that works.
So the flesh is weak is a move that I really want to use before our time is over.
Okay.
So I have 2 questions. 1, it channels the castle's corruption into one part of an explorer's body. So that's not our internal corruption. Is that drawing from the space into?
Well, your internal corruption is the castle's corruption.
I see. Okay.
It's the castle corrupting you and making you monstrous.
But once the corruption converts to blood,
yes,
it can no longer be channeled, right?
No, it can. It can. That's why amputating it removes a point of blood from the explorer.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
so it's a nice way of dropping your blood if you like. Only costs a major wound.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold off on it.
Okay.
I have other designs.
All right. What else we got? So I am aware of the time. Does anyone have a hard point they need to be gone by?
Yeah. I do. It's probably around 2:45 or so.
Okay.
So 45 after the hour.
Okay.
I have to be gone at past.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry.
All right. So I'm gonna try and run forward into the final battle if we can, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, this place has cleared of corruption, and actually, you can see as the fog clears, the blast from that explosion must have taken the roof off this place, because the sort of stone cavern above you has gone. You're just in the bottom of this sort of pit in this grassy field with sort of clear skies above you, and through those clear skies, you can see sort of looming over the pit a bright white stone basilica standing there that is not normally there in Rome, you would say. So you do have a choice. You can try and get your bloodline into Caesar's place and rest up a bit, or you can forge straight ahead.
I'd like to shelter real quick if I can.
Okay. You can shelter, yeah. Instead of getting someone in to provide rest and recuperation.
Yeah.
Is that cool with you guys? All right, go for it. Roll Mercury.
F. That's a 3.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll say this place just isn't. Actually. Yeah.
My goal here, sorry.
Go
I was
for it.
going to say, my goal here is to try to restore my spiritual fusion.
Right. So you can try and rest. You try and sort of do some breathing exercises, and it's certainly enough to reconnect you to your spirit. It's not enough time for everyone else to do things to heal and rest up and all that sort of thing, because a bell starts tolling within that basilica as the Regent's clock ticks down again. So you get another relic. And clouds start spreading out over it, dark, ominous lightning clouds. And the ritual is getting close to completion. So, you can obviously fall back to outside the menagerie, but there is the basilica right there.
I think we're all kind of, at least harm has been taken care of for most of us, right? I mean, everybody's doing pretty well with the healing that I did, or not? I think at least in character, Hector would be like, our path seems clear. We should move forward. We could retreat and recuperate, but now's our chance. Let's go.
All right.
What do you guys say?
Quick question mechanically. So, like, if I converted harm into a major wound and then you get healed later, that just heals latent harm, not the major wound, right?
Indeed.
All right.
Wait, let me double check what that move says, though. There was something else a little
So
bit.
you could have, instead of healing everyone around you, you could have healed a wound on someone.
Right.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay, sorry about that.
Curse you!
All right, so somewhat gouged and impaled and limping, the four of you leave the crater, and now you can see in this grasslands that was, where the Emperor could see the more exotic beasts roam and play. It's actually, there's a balcony coming out of the basilica overlooking this. It's actually not that far off the ground. So Do you have any efforts to get towards there?
When you say it's not that far off the ground.
It's like a story up, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go pull out some gear that'll kind of help us on our way.
Okay.
Well, and
yeah.
Oh, sorry, but I have a natural agility, which means I can climb walls, run on water, or leap dozens of meters and get advantage on dodge. So,
Oh yeah.
I can, if you provide ropes and whatever, I can climb up there and help people come up.
Yeah, out of one of my bags, I pull kind of like a rope ladder, right? It looks like one of those like emergency ladders they have for fire escapes or something, but it's made out of like rope or something. So yeah, I'll give it to him so he can jump up and all that.
Okay. So, Julia, the hunger of the curse is much lesser now that the progenitor has been slain. I mean, it's still there, and it'll probably grow within you still, but it's less. But you can still tap into it to do these unnatural feats. So you just grab the rope ladder, sprint up the side of the wall, and up onto the balcony where you tie it and let it down to the others. All right. So you'll climb up, I assume, and you can see the doors into the basilica. They are slightly ajar, and from within you can hear the sound of hymns being sung and organ music filling the air. So,
look around at my compatriots and everybody ready for this? Hand on the entryway.
Zithar is slowly shaking his head.
You just get a nod from Hector.
And unless I hear otherwise from Alexandria, I'm going to again brashly open the door and head in.
Nice. All right. You push open the door, and within, the sound of chanting immediately ramps up in volume as you now see that you're on the upper level of, well, a giant basilica. There is there's a ring of a balcony overlooking a grand central chamber, and the seats are packed with people. Actually, wait. No, actually, it looks surprisingly empty. There are places dotted here and there, but it looks like they've had trouble getting as many recruits as they were looking for. Maybe because their arch recruiter was murdered. Who can say? And down in the center, there is a figure dressed in what you would recognize as the robes of the papacy, standing next to an altar, and various acolytes and servants are surrounding them, holding the various sort of items of office and fancy shawls and special croziers and that sort of thing. It looks like they're preparing for I don't know, it's not quite a coronation, I suppose, a installment of a new pontifex over the church. And this figure at the center is sort of directing them with a commanding voice. As they walk, their robes ripple and glisten, and they leave a trail of red on the floor behind them. But they're surrounded by this burning halo of light just behind their head always. That seems to let off a smoke and oily sort of It looks like sort of oily fires burning and smog filling the air above it. So, what do?
I think I'd like to just assess the situation and try and peer into what I think is happening here. Like, does this seem to be the Regent? Is this another acolyte? Is this some other, like lieutenant of, the Regent, and just what's going on here?
Okay, give me a C clear roll.
All right, and something I've been forgetting to do is I have True Sight, which gives me advantage on C clear.
Mm-hmm.
So
3d6 to hit the highest, add 3. Probably going to do all right.
It is 14.
Nice.
All right. So let's take a look at those questions. See clear. What should I be on the lookout for? What can the enemies do here? And which exit will take me to my goal?
Okay. So firstly, what exit will take you to your goal is, that's your goal in the center there.
Okay, perfect.
But there are stairs to the side that will take you down there without you having to jump off a balcony and down, which is probably easier. What you should be on the lookout for is kind of a so there are acolytes all around this place. Obviously they packed it with as many as they could, so you're not going to be getting reinforcements, but they will try and surge in when you try and fight this guy. And what can the foes here do? So those acolytes have those bells that you saw in the baptism chambers, the ones which pushed away malign supernatural influences, by which I mean your special abilities. Also, he seems to be this Pope to be in the center, the Regent, seems to be surrounded by the markers of false faith. He has burning fire and cleansing light and all that sort of terrible thing to bring to bear. Yes, it's going to be very hard to hide from him and very hard to affect him from a distance, you think? He's got that sort of inviolate look to him.
Okay, I think I quietly relay all this to my compatriots and see how we want to proceed here. If we have any ideas for like separate, like getting rid of the bells, or I think that's the biggest thing I tell everybody about is like the powers that we've drawn from the castle and that we have from our bloodlines. Those bells could wreak havoc on them. We need to take care of those. And then is there any way that we can separate them from the Regent, or some other way that we can not be overwhelmed by all of these?
I think Zithar, who's been limping behind and looking a little bit with trepidation on the whole thing, kind of stops and realizes, I think, the gravity of the situation here, and stands up straight and puffs out its chest and says, I'll take care of the bells. The bells is just to get rid of them, right? Then yes. Volunteers for that.
Okay. Do you have a plan?
Yes.
All right. What is it?
They don't volunteer.
Oh, right. Okay. You're asking other people to act on your plan.
but Zithar says yes and turns and picks up a sack from all the gear and holds it up and says yes, and it looks like an empty sack, like as if he's just going to put the bells in there, and then that's it.
Any comments on this? Or are you just waiting expectantly for them to do it?
I think Zizar's, yeah, just looking like proud of his plan, you know, and like looking at you guys. I don't know. I think they assume that this is it.
So Zithar has the bells, and the rest of us are just gonna rush this Regent to be, or, I mean, I know I'm all for just diving into the action, but I'm a little worried about this crowd of people as well.
Is the crowd congregated in one particular area, or are they spread out?
There are a few in the center with the Regent preparing them for their coronation, but most of them are sort of waiting, bowed in prayer in the balconies around the center of the basilica.
Okay. And how do the balconies, like, how can they get from the balconies to the area? Can I see that at all? Like,
There are those
like
stairs that you found.
Okay.
They're sort of on the very edge of the chamber. Like if you go to the back of the balcony, there'll be stairs downwards.
Okay. So I picked up an interesting ability for my blood advance that'll let me, like, if I get within arm's reach of foes, I can mark contamination to reshape the castle such that I'm separated by a deep chasm, a barricade, or a surging river. So if we're able to get down there, attract them to start coming down the stairs, if I stand at the base of the stairs and get close enough to them, I can create either a barrier or, like, you know, some kind of chasm that won't let them come at us.
Nice. Okay, so that's your part of the plan.
Yeah.
And Alexandria and I, we're gonna take on this Regent. Is that what I'm hearing?
Sounds like it.
Game on.
Okay.
So at least Alexandria, Julia, and Hector are heading for the stairs. Does your plan involve heading for the stairs? Does it?
Where is the bell? Exactly.
So a few of the acolytes are carrying the bells.
Right.
There is actually probably a bigger one up in the... You did hear one tolling earlier, actually. Yeah, there's one up in the belfry over here. You'll probably have to climb up a bit to get there.
I think I'll go up there.
Okay. So you might as well start with that. Do you want to give me... I think that's probably a flow like water to get up there.
Sounds great. Now, because of my hirelings, I flow like water with a disadvantage.
Yes, because there's all sorts of
I've got a lot of little rats all over.
It's hard to climb. So many rats.
Hard to climb or be sneaky.
Yeah.
So I'll roll that, and then, but flow like water, what does it use?
Mercury.
I don't have it in front of me. Mercury, okay. So at least I get a +1 there. All right, but this is at disadvantage. Ooh, that's still an 8.
Yes. All right, so you get to pick one of those.
Okay, hold on.
So I'm presuming, actually, you want to gain an advantageous position is what makes sense.
Yes, I am still bringing it up, but wait, flow like water or whatever it is. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. All right. So it's a 7 to 9. So I need to give your action a cost. Harm, contamination, or lost gear. I
don't mind some lost gear. I would be actually quite upset at that.
Okay. I think, yeah, in order to get up there, you actually have to drop most of your packs to make yourself light enough.
All right.
So for the time being, you don't have access to your armament or other gear.
Okay.
You do have your rats because they're sort of scaling this stone and
right.
sort of helping you're pulling them up, they're pulling you up, that sort of thing. But yeah, so you're on top of at the belfry next to this bell, which is for the moment hanging still. No one's pulling the rope or anything.
Okay. I have only one item, which is that sack. That's part of the plan.
Yes.
I'm feeling very naked with all my stuff gone.
Yes.
I probably actually look naked. I mean, other than my fur.
Because you're mostly just covered in bags and gear.
Okay, so the bag that I have was part of the get a blood gift.
Yes.
So, and I'm going to assume it's something I already had, but maybe I wasn't ready to use it yet or whatever. But this is one of my very special treasures. It's called the Maw of the Void. Basically, it's a void bag. So if it's something that can fit in this bag, it'll get sucked into it, and it won't go out until I let it go. And that can even be a person or something like that. So
yeah, importantly,
actually,
fit means sort of get through the opening, not sort of.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm gonna try to slurp this bell into the sack.
Okay.
And I think I'm almost sighing of relief that I don't have my gear, because part of the reason I almost never use this is because I'm worried, like
it'll devour everything that you have.
It'll devour everything, and then you lose all your stuff and you start over again.
All right.
So yeah.
So okay. Are you sort of standing on the edge of the belfry and just opening this and trying to suck the bell in then?
Sounds about right.
Okay, yes. Mark contamination.
Is contamination the same as corruption there?
Yeah, sorry, that was
okay.
marked wrong.
That's fine. Just want to make sure oops. Got it.
All right. So you pull open the bag and will it to pull things in. And yes, there's a slight sort of tolling of the bell as it swings towards you. And then then the clapper just gets sucked out of it into the bag, and you have to brace yourself as this metal rod flies towards you, and it just sort of goes straight into the opening of the bag, and then just, meters of it pass by you into the bag, and then you just close the bag and it's gone, and the bell sort of swings back silent. Right. So
just like I planned.
Yes. So the three of you downstairs heading down to confront the Regent. Which of you is leading the way?
I'm guessing that Hector is hanging back.
Do you want to go forward then?
Sierra Julia?
I mean, I'm fine just the two of us going up together. I mean, I don't think we have to do one in front of the other or anything.
Nice. So are you trying to sneak down there or just head down there?
Well, I think we want to draw the attention of the acolytes, because we want them to rush towards the staircase and then have that. So I think in my standard fashion, brazenly going forward.
All right. So you just stroll down these stairs and past pews of waiting acolytes, and you can hear a susurrus of their robes whispering as they stand up, as their heads turn towards you, and they slowly walk towards you, intoning their prayers of purification. And you can see on the dais the Regent standing there turns towards you. The ones who have been interfering so much, agents of the false Pope, I suppose. I should have known you would turn up, but I've been purified. God has visited me, has given me such power, and with it I will remake the world. Who are you that you hope to stand against this? And he sort of grabs a staff from one of the nearby acolytes and gets surrounded in this aura of flames, burning oily flames. So, Julia, you're at the forefront. What do you do?
So I think to this, okay. I'm going to continue walking towards him, just ignoring his, claims of power and all this other stuff. And whenever I get close enough, I have my armament is a last-ditch ice burst that is stun and painful.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, I think it's contained within, some mystical vial, and as when I get close enough to him, I'm gonna shatter it and try and put out his flames.
Okay. Nice. That sounds like a withstand. You're sort of directly confronting his threat. Go for it.
And that's with iron?
Yes.
So that's a 7.
Okay, good. So pick one on that.
I'm just going to go with my classic. You throw the foe off balance and create an opening. Like I said, I'm looking to put out his flame. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, of course, you mark contamination. And also, the ice sort of spreads over you too as you try and sort of put out his flame. So you take... Yeah, I think so. That's just standard 2 harm, as it sort of seeps into you and tries and almost sort of freezes you in place. But it's only with some effort that you have to sort of shake it off and break free of it. But yes, this gout of ice just surges towards him, sort of almost freezing him in place. And you can see that aura of fire around him that had, now that you're closer, resolved into a ring of flaming eyes, just sort of frozen for a moment and covered in ice. So, Alexandra, you were right next to this. Do you want to be the one to take advantage of this?
Hell yeah, I do. I think this is going to be my final move.
Yeah.
So I want to... I'm going to do Apotheosis. Your spirit reveals its true form, though it taxes your body to host it. Okay. And mark contamination to channel its full power into an attack. Yeah.
Okay. What tag are you adding to this attack?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's do... stun. Makes enemies slow and sluggish on a hit.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, so what is the attack? Describe it to us.
I think to keep with this sort of theme that we've been working with like cages, right? There were the cages in with the last region, the last 2 regions. Backlights. I want this to be like some kind of binding spell, where they're almost like their arms become sort of sluggish, like they can't move them too far off their body without some kind of effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to shackle them with this. All right, that sounds like a sulfur attack you have advantage with.
And that is a 10.
Nice. All right. You destroy then his halo of eyes. You just completely purify them out with this surge of holy light from your spirit. But that completely exhausts you now, and you sort of collapse as the energy fades from you. The Regent backs away, is looking panicked either side of him as this sort of mark of blessing fades away. And he's like, quick, get them, stop them. And the acolytes surge forward, waving their staffs, trying to drown out your powers with their bells. But their bells are much less potent than the one up in the cathedral, which they were assuming would ring at this point. So, those of you at the front confronting the Regent, yes, Hector and Julia, there's a mass of acolytes rushing towards you, but you planned for this, yeah?
Yeah. So are they coming down? Is this the group that's coming down the stairs, or is this coming from the rest of the room, or where is this coming from?
Yeah, they're sort of surging down the stairs towards you, sort of from the edges of the room towards you.
Okay. So I think I just kind of stand there like very calmly. I put my hand out with like my palm flat, like, forward, just kind of in like a stop gesture. But I think like the TV version of this would be you'd see them running at me, and then I've got my hand out, and you see their hands getting close to mine, and in that moment the camera like goes to my eyes, and you see the star field there, and then you see me blink, and instead you see a reflection of a wall that matches all the other walls, and then when you pan back from me, my palm is just straight up against a wall that is separating all those things from us.
Nice. So yes, a wall has formed, dividing you in the center of this chamber from the rest of the acolytes. Okay. So I'm just trying to work out what to deal with this. I am actually very sorry, but it sounds like my kid is having real trouble getting to sleep, and I know I don't want to rush the end of this, and I don't think we'd be able to hit it by the end of 11:15. Well, 15 minutes anyhow. But how about I'm going to sort of draw a line of things here. Sorry about this. And we can maybe do some debrief on Discord or whatever in some time after this.
Sure. Works for me.
All right. Sorry, it was a bit anticlimactic, but time is time.
That's life.
Yeah. So see you, folks.